What is up? Excited to tap into this week's astrology with you all. Thank you all for being here. Look at all you beautiful, gorgeous faces making time and space for the planets this morning. Hello, beautiful. Hi. I'm gonna post this to YouTube as well. So if any of you guys cannot stay or you prefer watching content on YouTube, you'll be able to go to YouTube and see this live. I'm also going to be sharing the chart via YouTube. So if you guys go to YouTube, you'll be able to follow along with the chart that I'm looking at. Good morning. So I'm excited to dive into this week's astrology. We have a beautiful new moon in Cancer coming up in a few days. In 2 days on the 25th, actually. So we're wrapping up our full moon in Sagittarius cycle. We have the sun's in Cancer. It's Cancer season. Welcome. Thank you for being here. The season of the mother, the season of creation, the season of babies and baby making. And I think, with Jupiter and Cancer, Jupiter and the sun together this week for, today, tomorrow, for a few days, going into the new moon, we're feeling this hope. We're feeling this expansion. We're feeling this joy. We're feeling this like sense of family and this warmth and this nourishment, right? Like there's a lot of really nice, beautiful, sweet, sensual, loving, creative, viscous, I don't even know where that word came from, but viscous energy in the air this week because we're going to have the sun, right, and Jupiter transiting together for the first half of this week and leading into our new moon. So I love it. I love the Jupiter exaltation in Cancer. I love this Cancer season being the initiating portal into what Jupiter and Cancer is going to mean for us collectively over the next 12 months. I think individually speaking, I think someone asked on my YouTube pages, if you search the Soul Sage on YouTube, let me see. The Soul Sage YouTube. All one word. Oh yeah, you'll get it. Yeah. If you search, it's Louis the Soul Sage. If you search, oh cool. I'm on YouTube. Look at that. There's actually a podcast that I did with this gentleman. His name is James Zander. And we did when I was in Bali 2 years ago. What year? This was 2023. When I was in Bali at the end of 2023, I did a live with him. It was about 2 hours and 20 minutes because I ended up going to a Thanksgiving party when I was in Bali. I ended up going to a Thanksgiving party, and I was surrounded by people, and I was like preaching about astrology and talking about astrology, and he was so fascinated by it that he was like, "Oh my gosh, I want to get you, I want to do like a podcast episode with you where we talk about astrology." So I did that. And if you search Louis the Soul Sage YouTube, it'll actually the podcast will show up as well. The podcast episode I did. You should tap into that. I did that a few years ago. It was like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. But yeah, you'll also be able to. My page will pop up as well. It's Louis the Soul Sage. Or you could just search the Soul Sage and it'll pop up on YouTube. But anyways, yeah, go follow me there. Go follow me on YouTube. Okay. All right, cool. So, like I was saying, what's so miraculous? Yeah. Do you believe in miracles? Where you from? You sexy thing, you sexy thing, you. I believe in miracles. Since you came along, you sexy thing, you sexy thing. I just was thinking of Jupiter and Cancer with the sun, and we have, Jupiter, Sun, sextile Mars right now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not live streaming on YouTube yet. I don't think I have permission to live stream on YouTube yet. I will eventually set that up once I think you need a certain amount of followers to live stream. I think you need 1K followers on YouTube to live stream. But what I am going to do is I'm going to upload this to YouTube, okay? Afterwards. But eventually I will be like doing a dual live stream on Instagram, YouTube, and that'll be a way easier way to post it as well. Because, having to record it and then upload it to YouTube just is more time consuming. So, but we'll get there when we get there. But anyways, yeah. So like I was saying before, I jumped off into a million tangents. I jumped off the tangent bridge. We have the sun and Jupiter transiting together, you know? So the sun is creativity, the sun is our identity or sense of self. The sun is also connected to our ego, right? Like the way that we perceive ourselves. One of the ways that I like to explain your sun sign, your relationship with your sun, your own personal sun, is the sun. When someone asks you, like, tell me about yourself, and when you start telling people about yourself, that is your sun sign at work. Because your sun is the identity that you create in your own mind, in your own head about who you are. The sun, your sun sign, your sun, your relationship with your own personal sun, is the story you tell yourself about yourself. And it's the identity that you've created. So when people ask you about your name, like who is Louie, who is Sylvia, who is Rachel, and you start telling people about who you are, right? That is your sun. That's your sun going to work. And that is your relationship that you've built with your sun. Okay. So the sun being conjunct Jupiter, the planet of beliefs, right? Morals, ethics, righteousness, and the sun, Jupiter together right now, there's a lot of expansion and growth around identity this week, especially these next few days and with this new moon in Cancer. We're feeling like we need to expand and grow and believe in ourselves and trust ourselves more. And we're getting clarity and vision around ourselves. And with Sun, Jupiter together in Cancer, right? This is a conjunction that only happens really once a year, and every year, because Jupiter transits a new sign every year, right? It's gonna typically only happen in that particular sign in Jupiter's cycle at once. So with Sun Jupiter together this right now, this week, especially for the new moon in Cancer, I really want you to think of what are some ways that you can expand and grow your sense of self, your relationship with yourself, the identity that you have accumulated, right? And one of the things I talk to a lot of people about, especially when I'm doing readings, is how much of your identity and who you think you are and who you've constructed yourself to be is a response to your childhood, a response to your parents, a response to trauma. Like a lot of like the ways that we are shaped and formed in childhood, the way our ego or our sun sign is shaped and formed in childhood, much of it wasn't done with intention. Like many of us were just trying to survive our childhood. Many of us were struggling to be seen and validated and supported. Many of us didn't get seen or recognized or supported or celebrated, which is what a healthy son needs. Many of us had a broken or a disconnected or a missing father, which is the sun in our chart, right? Our father was not there. Our father was working all the time. Our father was deployed. Our father was missing. Or our father was mean and selfish and egotistical. Or our mother and our father were fighting. So we have a wounded relationship with the son. We have a wounded relationship with ourselves. We don't know who we are. We're disconnected from ourselves. Or we have formed or built an ego, built an identity. Welcome, everybody coming in. I'm talking about our sun sign and our relationship to the sun. We formed or built an identity that was in response to our traumatic childhood, that was more defensive and protective, right? Or we were told things about ourselves that have nothing to do with who we really are or who we want to be, right? So I think with the Sun and Jupiter conjunct this week, especially in the beginning parts of this week, like they made a conjunction yesterday, and with the new moon in Cancer, Sun Moon conjunct the Sun, there's this opportunity to liberate yourself and expand your concept of self, to believe in yourself more, to trust in yourself more, and to really get to the root of who you are, really, truthfully, or even start envisioning and working towards the person that you want to be, that you want to be. Let's say you don't want to be a nervous, scared person anymore. Let's say you don't want to be pessimistic or doubtful. Let's say that you don't want to be like, a fearful person, you know? Let's say you want to cultivate more faith, more optimism, more joy. You want to see yourself as beautiful. You want to see yourself as talented. Start working on that, especially with this new moon. Plant some intentions, set some new seeds, plant some new seeds, right? To become bigger and greater than who you've been. to reach for more and expand yourself. Give yourself, like, trust yourself. Give yourself an opportunity to learn and grow and try something new and to be somebody else that is authentically you, that is a matter of choice. That's not just a response to your trauma and your childhood and your parents and the victim narrative and the stories that you've told yourself about men and about your children and about, oh my God, I'm my role as a mother and my role as a parent and am I doing a good job? It's like, get away from that. Okay? Get away from all that BS. Okay? Really talk to yourself with love and compassion and really envision and be intentional about the person that you are becoming. We are so capable of change. We are capable of deep, beautiful, powerful transformation and change. Happy birthday, beloved. As Matilda said, today is her birthday. Happy birthday. I love this for you. I will tell you though, having a 12th house moon in your solar return is a little difficult. So Matilda, okay, because today's your solar return, right? And so the moon's in Gemini in the eighth house or in the 12th house to your sun in the solar return. So, you have I will give you a little bit of this, Matilda. Okay. I love that movie. That was like one of my favorite movies. I cry every time. I want to go see the musical actually. Oh my God, Matilda! Oh, that movie was so good. Oh, that movie was really good. Yeah, that's the movie I'm talking about, right? Where she like has the magical powers. And her parents are all mean. You have a balsamic moon, my love, for your. You have a balsamic moon in your solar return signature. In your solar return, you have the moon behind the sun. So I will tell you, there's probably going to be some endings that you're going to deal with this year, Matilda. There's probably going to be some things that you're going to be releasing and letting go of. But it'll be good for you. I think it's good for you. Okay. I think you have some ish that you got to let go of. And I think, there's going to be some things some endings or some releasing and some purging and some things that you're gonna have to deal with, okay? Because it's time for you to move on, okay? But you a lot of new friends this year for you. It's probably gonna impact your career and your job in some type of way as well, okay? I will tell you. So you're probably gonna have some redirection with work and career. You should book a solar return reading with me or a year ahead reading with me. Always recommend that for people. And if you are having a birthday and you want to know what your year ahead is gonna look like, we look at your perfection chart. We look at your solar return chart. We look at your transit chart. I talk to you about your eclipses. I talk to you about what Saturn and Jupiter is doing in your chart for the next year. And sometimes we go into 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 7 years from now. If I see love for you later on down the line, I'm gonna be like, okay, baby, you're gonna have to wait until 2030. Okay, I'll be honest with you. So, yes, all right. But anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand. So we have this beautiful, beautiful thing with Sun Jupiter conjunct this week, today, right now, in the next few days, and for our new moon in Cancer that's coming up on Wednesday. And what I love about it as well, the additional thing that I love about it is that the Sun Jupiter is making a sextile to Mars in Virgo. Okay. So this is a beautiful week to get organized and get ish done. When the sun and Mars are in a sextile with each other, there's a lot of stimulating energy. There's a lot of life force. Like we want to go to the gym, we want to wash our dishes, we want to do our laundry, we want to clean our house, we want to take the dog out for 10 walks a day. Like there's a lot of productive energy in the air right now. And it's not just Sun Jupiter, Sun Mars sextile, it's Sun Jupiter conjunct sextile Mars. Sun, Jupiter, and Mars are all triplicity rulers of the fire signs. So Sun rules Leo, Jupiter rules Sag, and Mars rules Aries. So we have the three planets that are connected to the element of fire in a beautiful relationship with each other right now. And I think this is an incredibly productive week. And I think that we should not, okay, we should not throw this energy away. Okay. Someone said I've been feeling it. I started deep cleaning my apartment yesterday. Yeah, I did all my laundry this weekend. I think was it yesterday? No, Saturday. I did all my laundry on Saturday and then I hung everything up yesterday and I had my clean socks sitting in like, and sitting in one of my laundry bins for like a week. And then yesterday I was like, I'm pairing all my socks. I'm doing all my laundry because I'm gonna get ready for my vacation because I'm going on my first cruise, it's so cool to see astrology at work because right? Cruises are connected to Jupiter. Like anything that's really big. So like giant cruise liners, like those big ships, that's Jupiter in Cancer, right? This is why Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, okay? These giant ocean liners, right? Where you go and have fun and you just overeat and you just party and there's like all these activities, you meet all these foreign people. That's a Jupiter thing. And it's so cool because I'm a Pisces rising, and during this new moon in Cancer cycle, let's say my fifth house of fun, okay, I'm going on my first cruise. It's not a gay cruise, by the way, but we're going to make it gay. So I'm excited. This is going to be a lot of fun, and it's so astrologically appropriate with how it's showing up in my chart. We want to cruise pics during your vacation. Take us. I take you guys with me everywhere I go. You will definitely be seeing the pictures of me on the cruise, okay? So, so yeah, so it's Sun and Jupiter together, with sextile Mars, we're feeling a stimulating energy. We're feeling very ambitious. Some of us, we may be feeling very sexual as well. You know, when Sun, Jupiter, and Mars are in aspect with each other, this is like a lot of sexual energy. This is a lot of stimulating energy. Like, this is baby making. This is baby making aspects, okay? For your pride, don't hide. So yeah, this is baby making out. I will tell you, this new moon in Cancer, okay, if you're a water and earth sign and you do not want to get preggers, you don't want to get knocked up, I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind, baby. And make a baby on accident, you better wear protection because we're gonna have Sun, Moon, Jupiter, Sun, Moon, the life givers, sextiling Mars and Virgo. This, if you are an earth sign and a water sign, especially, if you do not want to make a baby, do not be bumping and grinding with the new moon on Wednesday. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this energy is gonna be in the air all this week though. It's already in the air. So, earth and water signs, baby making. Getting a puppy, and someone said they're getting a puppy instead. Yeah, so it's interesting is I told one of my clients that she would be getting like I told the client this last year, I believe, when I did her year ahead. I told her that she would be like getting pregnant or having a baby in like March or April of this year, and she actually ended up just getting a puppy. And that's funny. She's like, "Well, I didn't have a baby," but she's like, "I got another baby. I ended up getting a puppy." So sometimes, sometimes what I see for you guys is it's gonna be a little different sometimes, So it'll manifest sometimes in curious ways. Sometimes it's not always about just, having a baby. Sometimes me saying you're gonna have a baby is you getting a new puppy. Okay, or even birthing something or you starting something. The act of creation could be you starting a business or you like releasing or launching something. So we birth multiple things, and there's different ways that you could birth things into this reality. Sometimes you're birthing a business, sometimes you're birthing a creative project, sometimes you're releasing an album, sometimes you're releasing a book. All acts of creation are sacred, and I'd really recommend. Someone said they started ovulating today. Be careful, my love, okay? You're ovulating during a new moon cycle, right? When the moon is balsamic in Gemini, because the moon's in Gemini right now. That's your body's itching to get pregnant. Your body is like, give me that baby, give me that baby, give me that baby. You're gonna walk around and men are gonna be like, what's that smell? That smells like a woman in heat. That smells like a woman who wants to become a mom. It's so funny too because Cancer women. I was talking about this yesterday with Elise when we did our Cancer season overview. Also, if you haven't watched that, definitely check it out. Me and Elise went live last night and we did a Cancer season overview. But Cancer women, when women have the moon and the rising, or they have Sun Moon together, or they have like Cancer placements like Venus, Mercury, and Cancer, or whatever, Cancer rising, Cancer Sun, or even if they have any like Cancer placements, men are always wanting to get them pregnant. Like men will walk up to you and be like, "You're gonna be a good mom one day. Do you want to become a mom? I'll make you a mom." It is the craziest thing. I have. I have a lot of cancer friends, right? I've had a lot of cancer friends throughout the years, and most of them have been women. And just to see the way men interact with them, it is the funniest thing ever, you know. Has been pregnant with twins. You can see, yeah, you can see when someone's pregnant with twins. That's a mutable sign thing. So when people have mutable planets like Jupiter, Mercury in the fifth house, they have Jupiter, Mercury ruling the fifth. So they got, Pisces, Sag, Gemini or Virgo ruling the fifth. Or if they have a lot of mutable placements, like if someone is all mutable, Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, these are the twin signs. These are the duality signs, right? So Pisces is the fish, Gemini is the twin, Sagittarius is also a duality sign, and so is Virgo, because there's like they're connected to dualistic energy, right? And so twin energy has everything to do with the mutable signs. And so when people have like they're all mutable, everything in Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sag, very, very likely that they can, especially when a woman has a mutable moon or the fifth house ruler is in a mutable sign or they got mutable planets in the fifth house. That's when having twins is like a likely thing. And sometimes you can see this when you're tracking pregnancies or births in a woman's chart. If they have a pregnancy or a birth experience or a conception that's connected to a mutable house, because the first child is your fifth house, the next child's the seventh. A lot of people don't know this, but this is like kind of like a little bit more advanced astrology, but I'm just giving y'all a very light breakdown of it. But your first child is your fifth house, your first pregnancy. I'm gonna say your first pregnancy, not your first child, because we also you skip pregnancies. If you have a, That's why if you're a woman, you want to keep track of your abortions and your miscarriages. Okay, I don't like the way I said that, but it had to be said. You want to keep track of your abortions, your miscarriages, because anytime you have a pregnancy, even if it doesn't come to term, it still counts, and you'll still go to the next house. So it's like every other house, starting with the fifth house, is your pregnancies. So the first pregnancy is the fifth, the second pregnancy is the seventh, the next pregnancy is the ninth, the next pregnancy is the 11th, then it goes to the first, and then the third, and then the fifth, the seventh, and it just goes around the wheel. All your pregnancies, right? And so this is how many times you'll see that people have all boys or all girls because every other sign is going to be a masculine or a feminine sign, right? Like if you have Leo in the seventh house, right? Then the next sign is going to be Virgo, but then the next sign after that is another masculine sign, right? Which is Libra. So the fifth house is Leo, the seventh house is Libra, right? And then the next house is going to be what? Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius. So this is how you can have a woman have all boys because she has all masculine signs from 5, 7, 9, 11. And it's not until there's an interruption with like a feminine sign or with the feminine planet in one of those signs or one of those signs is being disposited by a feminine planet, right? Like Venus or the moon or Mercury. Mercury could go both ways because Mercury is a genderless planet, right? But if Mercury's in a water sign or an earth sign, then it's a feminine. Then you'll have a girl. But you'll see sometimes with the way people's charts, if a woman has all fire and air in her chart, okay, then, she's having boys. She's making boys. And it just is what it is, right? It's the astrological makeup. Does that make sense? So appropriate that it's cancer season and we have a new moon in cancer coming up and we're talking about pregnancy and birth. This is like a very complicated concept. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is a little kind of advanced astrology. It's not, you got to know astrology to kind of figure this out. It's not something that if you're just like dabbling and you don't really understand houses and you don't understand like dispositors, this is like it's like a complicated concept is what I'm saying. It's not as straightforward. Like you got to do math. You got to do some math. You gotta do some math. Okay, astrology is math in a way, and I got an A in physics. Okay, I went up to math analysis, but I don't like math. I like applied math. So yeah. Anyways, right. So with the new moon in Cancer coming up on Wednesday, we are going to be having this. We want to birth or create something new. We're feeling very expansive. There's like a new version of ourselves, being born and being created in some type of way. And we're feeling this need to outgrow, right? To outgrow our identity, outgrow who we've been. And I think that's something that we need to lean into with this new moon in Cancer coming up on Wednesday. Okay, but let me talk about something else. Okay, because me and Elise were talking about this yesterday in the Cancer season overview. Welcome everybody coming in. I'm talking a little bit about I'm really focusing on the Sun Jupiter conjunction and Sun Jupiter sextile Mars. I've been talking about that for the last like 30 minutes or so. But what I want to mention as well is that Sun Jupiter conjunct, right, are also making a square to Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So the innocence and the purity and the love of Sun Jupiter conjunct sextiling Mars is also coming under attack by Saturn and Neptune in Aries, right? And I want you guys to think, for those of you learning astrology, I want you to think of when a planet that is a little bit more neutral, or that can be good or bad, but the outer planets, I believe the outer planets, Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, I think Neptune is the softest of them, but I think Pluto, Uranus can be very malefic. I think they could be very traumatic, and I think they could bring a lot of like chaos in our life. I mean, they bring charisma, they bring power, they, especially Pluto, right? Charisma, power, magnetism, global worldly success, like money, riches, wealth. Those are the gifts of Pluto. But Pluto can be extremely traumatic. There can be a lot of death that you experience when Pluto is very active in your chart. You can kind of feel obsessive compulsive addiction energy is a very plutonic thing. People that have really intense cravings and addictions that are just super hard to like get rid of. That's a Pluto thing as well. Uranus is the planet of chaos and stress and anxiety, but Uranus is also the planet of genius, right? And forward thinking. And people that have a strong Uranian imprint, they're extremely intelligent, very smart many times, but there it comes at some kind of price, like because Uranus energy is also very chaotic and very uncontrollable. So a lot of Uranian people, they have a hard time, sitting still. They have nervous system issues. They have nervous tics. They have mental health issues, right? They feel very chaotic. They feel overly energized. They burn out very, very quickly. So when we're talking about, Saturn conjunct Neptune, the reason why I'm talking about this is because we have that Saturn Neptune conjunction. Neptune, even though I think he's the easiest of the three outer planets, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. When he's sitting with Saturn, he's working for Saturn and he's an agent for Saturn and he's doing Saturn's bidding. Like Saturn is the evil planet, right? Saturn is the planet of control and rejection and power. And Saturn, the reason why he's fallen or weak in Aries is because Aries, the sign of war, okay, exacerbates Saturn's destruction and his meanness and it's like Saturn is traditionally a cold, dry planet, and Aries is hot and dry. So it's like what happens is like it's like there's Saturn is like blizzards, right? And like ice storms, and all of a sudden, when he's in Aries, it's like, oh my God, now we're throwing fire in the mix as well, right? Like explosions and Aries being a sign of war, Saturn going into Aries, will signify war and conflict and people attacking each other and people trying to control each other, right? But I think the influence of Neptune there is kind of making things very foggy and very delusional and very like what is real, what isn't real, And the influence of Neptune on us personally with Sun, Saturn, squaring Jupiter, Neptune is like there's confusion in the air around who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. This is one of the things I was talking about with Elise yesterday. It's like, with World War One, where World War Two, it seemed to be very clear who was the good guy and who was the bad guy. But now with with Saturn, Neptune squaring Sun, Jupiter, it's like who's the good guy and who's the bad guy? Like there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of conspiracy because Neptune is connected to conspiracy. Neptune is connected to delusion. Neptune is connected to, fantasy, what's real or what's unreal. And so, the planet Saturn, we look to Saturn to give us objective truth and objective reality. And with him sitting with Neptune, we're just not going to get it. Or there's going to be a lot of lies, a lot of deception. There's going to be a lot of confusion, blurred boundaries, right? Saturn is the planet that makes things real. He puts things into boxes. He categorizes things and he sets boundaries where Neptune dissolves And Neptune is like unconditional love. And, we're all human beings. And Saturn is like, no, some of you are brown, some of you are black, some of you are gay, some of you are men, some of you are women. And then Neptune's like, we're all just human beings, my guy. Like, chill out, relax. Like, at the end of the day, we're all one. That's Neptune. When you get them together, it's like, well, okay, who is who? Where are the boundaries at? Where are the limitations? Right? There's this confusion. There's a fogginess around all Saturnian things. Right? And so it's kind of like when you're thinking about the Saturn Neptune conjunction squaring Sun Jupiter, there's a little bit of confusion maybe that we're feeling about our beliefs about ourselves right now. Especially with Jupiter being the planet of morals and ethics and our beliefs and what we think is right and what we think is wrong, right? Our commitment to truth, that's Jupiter. And it's like with it squaring Saturn, Neptune, there's confusion around all these things. We don't know what's real. We don't know what's a lie. We don't know who the bad guy is. We're like confused. You know what I mean? So I just want you guys to think about this because we have this beautiful Sun Jupiter sextile Mars this week, right? Especially going into our new moon on Wednesday. But we have this superior square from Saturn Neptune that's not really allowing us to shine and grow. That's still challenging us in some way. We're having to deal with, that Neptune square Sun Jupiter, which is there's still some confusion, there's still some anxiety, there's still, or we're like some of us, we may be experiencing this in our own life in some type of way, right? You have some kind of obligation and responsibility, Saturn, that you have to deal with that's taking you away from the peace and the expansion and the growth of yourself, right? Sun Jupiter. You have a parent that has conflicting beliefs with you. You have to go to a job with coworkers or with bosses that are mean or angry that don't respect you. There's this like outside authority, right? This Saturn Neptune in Aries squaring Sun Jupiter. It's like there's this attack, right? Saturn Neptune in Aries happening on families, happening on the homeland, happening against the people that we love, the communities that we love. Sun Jupiter together in Cancer. It's like I'm thinking about ICE going into our cities and just taking people from their jobs and just snatching people from the courtroom and going to churches and stealing people from graduation, right? It's like we have, the Iranians and we have the Palestinians, getting attacked on their homeland, right? It's like, what is going on? And it's literally manifesting with Saturn Neptune squaring Sun Jupiter. There's this disrespect happening with morals and ethics. There's an encroachment of people on our land, on our homes, coming into our homeland, trying to take our homeland, attacking us. We're feeling it here in the United States. We're all like, oh my God, how is Iran going to retaliate? Are they going to bomb the United States? How are they going to attack the United States? It's like the homeland, our home, Sun, Jupiter, and Cancer is coming under attack in some way. Saturn and Aries squaring Sun, Jupiter. And we're seeing it all around the world. We're seeing it all around the world, right? But we could also be experiencing this personally. I think the Neptune combination of this is people overstepping our boundaries. People overstepping our boundaries. Where you may have a parent, you may have a boss, you may have your children, you may have a spouse overstepping your boundaries right now or testing your boundaries to see what you're going to do, testing your authority, testing your power, testing your autonomy, testing your commitment to the family in some type of way. How loyal are you to you may have your mom or your dad guilting you, making you feel bad for wanting to choose your own way, Saturn and Aries, but they're like, no, you got to come home and do the dishes. No, you got to come home and take care of your parent or of your siblings. No, you have to come home and take care of me, right? So there's this tension and this conflict that we're having with Sun, Jupiter squaring Saturn, Neptune, right? And it's like Saturn, Neptune in one way is like our independence, our autonomy, what we want for ourselves, our own power, individual power, where, Sun, Jupiter, and Cancer is like commitment to the family, commitment to the homeland, commitment to your religion, commitment to, your country. It's like some of us are feeling patriotic, Sun, Jupiter, and others of us are like, fuck the United States and screw Donald Trump, and this government has lost their motherfucking mind, and I want no part of this, right? We're seeing all these memes online right now where people are like, dear Iran, we're not the ones. We did not choose this, okay? There was Donald Trump is acting alone. They're like circling Mar-a-Lago on the map. If you're aiming for United States, attack here. This like we're seeing all these memes show up online right now. So it's so interesting, it's fascinating to see how this astrology is manifesting. Someone says going through this right now, conflicting beliefs and then expecting more from me while I'm building my future. Yeah, it's like there's this tension that we have between choosing our own way, Saturn and Aries, and being committed to like the family and others and the people that we're emotionally invested in, which is Sun Jupiter. It's weird. It's a weird tension, and then it's being amplified by the fact that Neptune is in on it. It's making it even more confusing, right? But I will tell you. Let me tell you something, okay? Jupiter's going to be in Cancer for a year, but Saturn's going to be in Aries for 2.5 years. If you are feeling this tension between yourself and like family, I will tell you right now, you got to choose yourself. You got to choose yourself. Excuse me. Because let me tell you why. Okay. We are about to have all the outer planets in masculine signs. So Uranus is going into Gemini this month. I have the date right here. I got two computers going right now. We have Uranus going to Gemini on July 7th, so we're not going to talk about that this week, but I will be talking about it next week, and I'll probably do a separate live on Uranus and Gemini and what that's going to mean for us collectively and what that's going to mean for us individually, especially if you have a mutable sign. If you have Uranus in Sagittarius, Uranus in Pisces or Virgo, you're about to go through or Uranus and Gemini. Some people are going through their Uranus return, right? Some of the older folk. Um, Donald Trump is going to be starting his Uranus return. He has Uranus in Gemini. Some of the older folk, people that are around the age of 84, are going to be going through their Uranus return. So, if you have Uranus in a mutable sign, you're going through it's midlife crisis time. It's quarter life, midlife, third life crisis for you. Okay. So, but we'll talk about that separately, right? But with all these, with Uranus, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune in Gemini, Aries, Aquarius, it's kind of like these are signs that are very masculine. These are signs that are very, you got to choose your own way, do your own thing, right? Like, and if the people around you are not going to, support your vision, support your creativity, support the person that you're becoming, it's time to let some people go. I really will tell I cannot tell you guys this like enough. I gotta express this. Like you are gonna allow one person, a few people to hold you back from a mission or a calling or a path that the divine and God and spirit has outlined for you. You're gonna do that? You are going to let one person, a few people, hold you back from the possibility or the potential to have influence or to have an impact on millions, billions of people because you let that one person take you away from your calling and your mission. You better stop it. You better get it together. Okay? Do not give people power over your life like that. Do not give individuals power over your life like that. You have to reclaim your power. You got to reclaim your autonomy. You cannot let one person take you away from your divine mission, from what you're here to do. Even if they don't understand you, even if they don't believe in you, even if what they think is best for you conflicts with you think is best for yourself. You got to think about that. Okay, we give so much of our power away to others, to a religion, to our trauma, to our parents, to our spouse, to our kids, to our boss. Okay? You have Saturn and Aries is going to continue to be about reclaiming your autonomy. We already saw this when the nodes were going through Aries and Libra and the eclipses were in Aries and Libra last year. We already saw this. You guys got a preview of what Saturn and Aries means. With the eclipses going through, the North Node was in Aries last year. And the North Node and Saturn did a little exchangearoo. Saturn went into Aries, the North Node's now in Pisces. But the North Node was going through Aries last year. right? And we were already being shown, choose you. The North Node was telling you, choose you, go your own way, go your own way. Don't South Node and Libra things, right? Don't acquiesce to your partner. Don't just stay in relationships or connections that are just empty and unfulfilling, right? Don't just give your power away to others. You see what I'm saying? You absolutely need to reclaim your autonomy and your power. And that's where you will be rewarded. Most of the time, our biggest test is not even ourselves, but it's the relationships that we have and the people that we have to go through in order to succeed. And we have to overcome them. The Bhagavad Gita talks about this. The Bhagavad Gita, which is a ancient Hindu text, it's like their Bible in a way. Krishna is literally like their Jesus, and Krishna is dictating to Arjuna, the ways to reach enlightenment, right? And the metaphor that Krishna gives Arjuna is that life is a battle. This is a battlefield. You've come here to fight, okay? Whether you like it or not, you are here to fight, and you're gonna have these people in your life that are gonna be like final bosses, and they could show up at any moment in time, and they could be anybody. You can have a best friend turn into an enemy. You can have a husband turn into the worst experience in your life. You can have a child. You can have an employer. You can have a boss become an enemy. And you have to win. You have to conquer them. You have to overcome them in order to progress on your life path. Because you got some karma that you got to clear with these people, right? And many times the relationship doesn't start off that way, but eventually it becomes that way because of the karma. And then you have to win. You have to continue to fight in order for you to progress and learn and grow and move on to the next level in your life plan, right? And this is one of the things that Krishna tells Arjuna. He says, pick up your bow and fight. You may not want to fight, right? But keep this in mind. He tells him this. He says, no one here dies at the hand of another. This is what Krishna tells Arjuna. He says, at the end of the day, I'm going to take everybody. He's like, whether it is by your hand or my hand, I'm going to end up taking, everyone's going to die, is one of the things he says. So he's like, don't assume that guilt. Don't blame yourself because I'm going to take them one way or another. So he says, fight, pick up your bow. And I think that's one of the things that we really got to adopt. We got to really trust in our ability to fight. And that's why the sign of Aries and Scorpio exists. This is why Mars is in the sky. If we were not here to fight and become warriors and assert ourselves, right? And be like, then Mars wouldn't be in the sky. We wouldn't have planet Mars. But we do. And we all have Mars in our chart somewhere. We all have Mars, right? There's guns, there's war, there's violence. But what are we gonna do with it? Why do we have that? And these are the deep philosophical questions that I ask myself sometimes. Is like, all right, God, why did you give us Mars? Why do we have weapons? Why do we have violence? Why do we have power struggles? Why do we have domestic violence? Why do we have abuse? Why do we have to go through pain? Why do we have to deal with blood and guts, which are all Mars things, right? Blood, Aries, guts, Scorpio, the colon, right? Why do we got to deal with this? Well, it's because we have to understand how to fight. We got to learn how to assert ourselves, right? And we got to learn to work with the energy of Mars. We just got to, and we can't avoid it. You can't peace keep your way to light, to the end. You just can't. It's not possible. There is going to be someone that rubs you the wrong way. You're gonna experience something at some point in your life where someone's gonna challenge you and try to take away your power, and you are going to be pushed to fight for yourself. And that's just it. It is welcome to life. Welcome to being a human being. Welcome to Earth. Okay? You got to become a warrior in whatever way you choose, but you got to know when it's time to fight. You can't just lay down and I mean you can if you want to, but Mars is in the sky for a reason, okay? So I just want you guys to think about that with this Saturn, Neptune, and Aries squaring the Sun, Jupiter, right? We have Sun, Jupiter, sextile Mars this week, and it's like there's an invitation for us to really become a warrior, a spiritual warrior, a warrior for the divine. Like the Bible says, put on your armor. You know what I mean? Get suited and booted. Get suited and booted because I really do think this is come on, we have what? We have religious wars surfacing right now. We have Israel and Palestine. We have the Jewish people, okay, and the Islamic people at war. This is a tale as old as time. This is biblical shit that's happening. These are religious wars that are happening. These are right. Yes, they're about money, possibly. Yes, they're about resources. Yes, they're about oil. But the root and the foundations of the war that's erupting right now is everything to do with Jupiter and Neptune. It's religious war. This is this has been a war that these people have been waging before the United States was created. These are Abrahamic religious wars. These are the 12, these are the tribes going to war with each other, right? For those of you that are study the Bible or that have read the Bible or that know about the Bible, baby, this goes back. This is way before us. This ish that's erupting right now. This came way before us. Okay, so it's something you just want to keep in mind. We gotta we and I don't know. I feel like we just gotta be very clear about that. You know what I mean? So okay. All right. Thank you for buying a badge. Yeah, thank you guys for those of you that are buying a badge, supporting me. I greatly appreciate it. Literally, the Bible's coming to life right before our eyes. Yeah. So yeah, I just want you guys to think about this, okay? Because like it's very much prevalent, you know? It's like what's happening right now. I'm gonna actually go and share my screen on here. Let me share this window. To the window, to the wall. I'm not gonna finish that. Not gonna finish that. Okay, so let's kind of talk about let's kind of dive into the week ahead. I'm getting off my my whatchamacallit, my platform. I'm getting off my pedestal. I'm getting off my preacher's pedestal. Let's dive into the astrology of the week and let's talk about transits and let's start off with the moon. So for those of you that are new here, what I do is I go through the moon's transits for the week and I talk about important like ingresses for the week and conjunctions, and I'll talk a little bit about the new moon. I'm gonna do a live on the new moon, I think, on Wednesday morning. So I'll give you guys some deets on that. Okay. Someone had to finish that statement. You're so funny. Okay. So I will say this is a very important season for cardinal signs. If you are a Capricorn, Cancer, an Aries, or a Libra, this is very, very important season for you. I want you to pay close attention to what's shifting or what's changing in your life. I do believe, especially if your sun, moon, or rising is in a cardinal sign, um, there's going to be a lot of monumental shifts and changes. If you have anything at the early degrees of a cardinal sign, anything around 4 degrees, because that's where the new moon's going to be at on Wednesday. I want you to pay attention to what's happening in your life, and also be intentional, right? Because I think a lot of this has a lot to do with external forces or external things also happening, but also with Sun Jupiter together for the new moon in Cancer. Like, what change do you want to see in your life? Right? Where do you want to grow? Where do you want to expand? Maybe you want to move. Maybe you want to relocate. Maybe you want to go back to college. Maybe there's a skill or something that you want to learn or work on. Maybe there's a talent that you want to explore or perfect in some type of way, right? Or at least attempt to. We're never going to be perfect. Perfection, Virgo, is an illusion, Pisces. Perfection is an illusion. Stop chasing it, okay? It's a good goal to have, but we're all working towards it, okay? We're all working towards it. Anyways, I want you to think about that cardinal signs. I want you to think about in what ways is your life changing. And I think with Saturn and Aries being in the 10th place from the new moon, I think cardinal signs are also going through or feeling like a big career change. coming, or they're feeling like they want to change something with their legacy, with their career, with their foundations, with like what they're doing or how they're being of service to the world. Um, I especially feel this for Cancer and Capricorn people. I think, for Aries and Libra people, it's gonna be more about changes in relationships and like their family environment and like what home means to them and stuff like that. But yeah, there's definitely like ish changing for cardinal signs. Okay. So I want like very important cardinals. This is the first season that we have with Saturn and Jupiter in cardinal signs, Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, Libra people, and you guys need to pay attention. Okay. Yeah, this is for people, this is for Sun, Moon, and Rising. All right. So let's kind of talk about, yes, feeling this big time. Yeah, you'll get clarity on this. Okay. You'll start to feel more clarity around like work and career going into October. All right. If you are a cardinal sign, if there's been any like loss or any difficulties or any challenges that you've been going through, things will start to like clear up and like move forward in October in the our next, right? So you just kind of be got to be a little patient over the next, few months because we gotta you're gonna have to kind of wait until the sun goes into Libra and we enter our next cardinal season, which I think is gonna be a much more gentle one. This one's a very rough one. This is not an easy shift or transition, because the reason being is because Sun Jupiter is squaring Saturn. We have Saturn in Aries. Jupiter is squaring Saturn. So there's not it's like that square where they're applying pressure between them to like between each other is like very challenging. It's a very rough one. So squares are very tough. They're great aspects to have in your own chart though. Like if you people that have a lot of squares, let me tell you, they get shit done. Okay. They're very productive. They're like, let me get out of my way. I got work to do, I have Moon square Jupiter and I have Jupiter in Aries in my second house, squaring my Moon in Capricorn in the 11th. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Okay? I got money to make. I got work to do. Okay? I got Saturn in the 10th house on my MC. I got a mission to fulfill. Get the fuck out my way. I don't have time for tears. I don't have time for laziness. I don't have time for like get out of my way. I got shit to do, okay? Jupiter and Aries squaring my moon in Capricorn, all right? Get out of Get out of my way. I got work to do, okay? I don't got time for this BS. That's how I feel sometimes. Like I feel this. Like people are like, "Oh, I don't know." I listen. Get it together. Pick it up. Pick it up. All right, start moving your body. Start trying different things out. You got to get going. You got to get moving. You got to Jupiter and Aries, square moon and Capricorn. I got work to do. I got work to do. Get out of my way. Like that's the energy of that my square. That's my moon square Jupiter. Okay, I gotta know when to stop though. I gotta know. I've been better at my learn. I've been better at honoring my energetic limitations. Okay, but I ain't got. I'm the listen. I got time to wait. I'm not waiting for nobody. Okay, listen. The divine spirit does not wait for you. Saturn is not gonna wait for you. You've been given a certain amount of time. You don't know how much time you've been given. Okay, you may have a lot of time, you may have a little bit of time, but what you do with your time, you better be doing something with it. Okay, something meaningful, something that's important to you, Come on now, we got work to do. Get out of my way. I got the North Node in Aries too, so please just step. If you're not gonna do it, I will. Okay, and this is a one of the big phrases that's been coming to me um, is it's not enough to be able, you have to be willing. You have to be willing. Everyone is capable. Everyone is able, right? But it's that's not enough. Just because you can, that doesn't mean nothing. You have to. You have to. You must be willing. You have to do it. That's the only way, right? Like, oh, one day I will. Oh, one. It's like, no, you got to do it. You got to get it done. You got to put in the work. Like, I remember I had a falling out with a friend because they were like, "Oh, I feel like I don't have to work for what it is that I want or for my success or baby, do not tell a Capricorn moon that you don't have to work for what you want or what you deserve or what you're gonna you listen. as a Capricorn moon, I'm going to tell you, you are here to work. You are here to be productive. Whether you realize it or not, you're gonna have to work for it. Okay? For some people that are very lucky and blessed because they've been good people in past lives and have good karma, it will come a little bit easier for some. Yes, this is true. Okay? Everyone has their struggles though. Everyone has Saturn in the chart in some way. Okay? But for the majority of us, okay, especially if you're a Saturn person, baby, you came out of the womb working. Okay. I was 6 years old having to get straight A's. Okay. Like the bar has always been high for me. Okay. The expectations have always been high. I got a Capricorn moon. I was born old. I was born working. Okay. I'm my mom's employee at this point. All right. So it's like, that's how I feel. Sometimes my mom is a Virgo sun. She's a Virgo sun, Capricorn moon. And I feel like we're all her employees. My dad is her employee, okay? Me, I'm her employee. I work for that woman, okay? I came out of the womb working for her, you know? So, yeah, it's like we just listen, okay? Do not tell me if I'm gonna tell you, get your ass to work, okay? You better figure it out. Because listen, there's nothing, if you haven't worked for it, I'm sorry, you're probably not gonna get it. You gotta work for it in order to earn it. You gotta deserve it. And that's what Saturn teaches us. Okay. So yeah, now so get to work. All you want to do is stay in bed, baby. You better get out of bed. You better get out of bed. Okay, you gotta fight that. You gotta fight that. Okay, let's talk about the astrology of the week. Okay, Mama Ortega knows what's up. All right, so so we have the moon in Gemini today and tomorrow. This is we have the moon in Gemini today, trine Pluto in Aquarius. So beautiful. We have the moon actually sextiling Saturn. We have the moon squaring Mars today. So, there might be so just watch out for miscommunication issues or issues at the job today. For those of you at work, going back to work on a Monday. Mondays are ruled by the moon. The moon is making an aspect to Mars, a harsh aspect to Mars, and being sextile by Saturn or separating from a sextile with Saturn. So this can be a little kind of like chaotic energy, or this can be very challenging, or things can feel a little heavy, but this is also very stimulating. I don't know. I feel very stimulated. Do you guys feel stimulated? I feel stimulated. I think this moon in Gemini responding to it's responding to Mercury in Aries squaring Chiron. Watch out for wounds coming up in communication, people saying hurtful or meaningful things, conversations with aunts, uncles, siblings, cousins today, tomorrow that can be, healing, but also, it could be arguments where people, you know, um, say things that are kind of hurtful or mean or that illuminate or trigger some kind of wounding. Just watch out for that. Okay, there's kind of like a lot, there's like a lot of, I won't say a lot of Mars energy in the sky, but Mars is kind of like active. Okay, Mars is a little active. He's still separating from his square with Uranus. Uranus and Mars are within 4 degrees of each other, even though Mars is slowly separating from that square. We're still feeling that Uranus Mars square. It's kind of died down a little bit, but it's still in the air. They're both in Earth signs. Mars is, in at 3 degrees of Virgo, and Uranus is at 29 degrees. You and your sister, sibling conflicts are going to be a thing. With Mercury square Chiron, we got some Mercury, Mercury's a little wounded. Also, we have Mercury moving into Leo this week. Let me double check. Hold on. I think I have it here. We have Mercury moving into Leo, and we're going to be having a Mercury retrograde later on this month. Right at the end of Cancer season, we have a Mercury retrograde. Yeah, we do have, June 26th. So we have our new moon on June 25th on Wednesday, and then we have Mercury going into Leo on June 26th, the day after our new moon in Cancer. So Mercury in Leo, right as Mercury moves into Leo, he immediately opposes Pluto in Aquarius for kind of like the rest of the week. Let me see, hold on. Let me go by hours here. He opposes Pluto in Aquarius. So there's I'm Mercury opposite Pluto. I don't know. I think there's gonna be some, and then the moon goes right after the new moon in Cancer on Wednesday. The moon is going to be transiting Cancer Thursday, and then by end of day Friday, the moon goes into Leo, conjuncts Mercury, and they both are opposing Pluto. So to me, this is like really dramatic information coming out of the news. This could also be, us having to confront something or get something off of our mind, or us having very deep, transformational conversations with Mercury and Leo. I I don't know if anybody has Mercury and Leo or anybody knows people that have Mercury and Leo, but they're loud. They think what they want to think. They're very independent thinkers. You can't change their mind. And Mercury and Leo is like, I gotta talk my shit, and I gotta say some things. And it's a very expressive place for Mercury. Okay, my dad has Sun Mercury conjunct in Leo, and that man is loud, and he does not have a filter, and no matter where we're at in the world, he's okay. He's being heard. Okay, Garrett, he's the one. Okay, my dad, I was thinking about my Mercury and Leo. My dad, when we go to parties, he has a whistle that he brings. So when he starts dancing, he starts whistling. Poo, 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 poo. When he's dancing with, and everyone's like clapping, and he's got the little whistle. Poo, poo. It's like we want it. We want attention. Mercury and Leo wants attention. It wants to be heard. It has something to say. Is that a sun Mercury can think? Yes, I'm the same way. Like it's so funny because I got so much from my dad. I have Lilith and Leo squaring my sun, Mercury conjunction in Scorpio, and I'm like loud, and I cannot help it. And it's the sun energizing Mercury. It's the sun, that Leo influence of the sun on Mercury, making it loud. So my dad has Sun Mercury conjunct, and I have Sun Mercury conjunct. And it's funny because I see the influence of the sun on my Mercury to where I'm like super loud, and I'm like, when I have a very like bombastic voice, like my neighbors will be like, Louis, shut up, like keep it down. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm very passionate when I talk, okay? And it's that Sun Mercury energy. So Mercury and Leo is the same energy. It's like very loud. So I feel like with Mercury going into Leo on Thursday, we're feeling the need to express our creativity. We're feeling the need to talk about ourselves. We're feeling the need to, get it to do some kind of creative work. I also feel like Mercury and Leo gives us a boost in confidence. So those of us that, especially around Mercury things, if you've been feeling like you want to say something, Mercury's been in Cancer, which is a very hidden, sensitive, more of a private sign, right? Cancer is like, oh no, it's okay. Like, I don't want to disturb the peace. I don't want to overstep anyone's boundaries. It is a cardinal energy, but Mercury in Cancer is more private. It's more withholding. That's Cancer energy in general, where Leo is like, I got some shit to say, and we see this whenever Mercury goes through a fire sign, when Mercury goes through Aries, Sag, Leo, there's this desire to be more open and more forthcoming with information and with communication. I think Mercury in Leo is the best. Not to be, to put them on a scale or anything, but I think Mercury does pretty well in the sign of Leo. I think because Mercury and the Sun, they love each other, and so when Mercury's in Leo sign in the Sun sign Leo, he's very confident. He gets recognition. His words get respected. It's like the king is talking, right? Leo, the king, is talking. Mercury. And so I think there's an invitation with us, for us with Mercury and Leo to really express ourselves and to really be confident around our speech and confident about our creativity and what it is that we have to say. If you're a writer, if you're a poet, if you're a creative person, let's say you want to start a blog or something like that. I think Mercury and Leo is a beautiful time to do it. Also, I will tell you, we are going to have a Mercury retrograde in Leo. The date that that's going to happen, hold on. The date that is going to happen, gotta, on the 18th. So we're gonna have a Mercury retrograde in Leo. So Mercury's gonna be retrograding for Mercury retrogrades for about 3 weeks at a time. So Mercury's gonna be in Leo for a while. Okay, like Mercury and Leo ain't going nowhere. So it's just something to keep in mind. Okay, with Mercury's ingress into Leo, this is gonna be a sign that Mercury's gonna have an extended stay in. All right. And we're gonna see that and that starts on Thursday. But what's interesting about Mercury being in Leo for this week is that, let me go back to here. I want to go to like 12 o'clock exactly. What's interesting about Mercury being in Leo is that like I was saying, he immediately opposes Pluto in Aquarius. So this is kind of giving like rebellious speech. This is kind of giving the media, like people deviating from mainstream media. So we're gonna see more maybe like media outlets or newscasters or reporters or journalists kind of rebelling or speaking out or speaking against the establishment or maybe speaking against leaders or political figures, things like this. I think we're going to see more rebellion. Also, Mercury is a planet that is connected to workers in the workforce and students. So we might see, students this upcoming weekend doing like protests. We might see mass walkouts when it comes to jobs and things like this, or employees, or even union workers. There may be some drama, or there may be some experiences with that unfolding. I do think we're going to continue to see layoffs. I just cannot tell you this. Whenever, Mercury comes under the influence of like, or he gets negatively aspected, or he goes through something with the planets, he makes a square to Pluto, he got the South Node in Virgo. He was, was sitting in a conjunction with Uranus. It's like whenever Mercury goes through these like more challenging aspects, he was squaring Saturn. That's when we see like layoffs, and that's when people are getting like let go and stuff. And it's going to continue to be a theme, and I think we're going to see more of that um, at the end of this week, going into next week with Mercury opposite Pluto and Aquarius. There's going to be way more layoffs. I think this is like mass layoffs. Especially we're going to wake up to Monday morning on June 30th. We have Mercury at 3 degrees, directly opposite Pluto and Aquarius at 3 degrees. This is a Gemini degree, right? So this is a mercurial degree, and we're going to wake up to some news on Monday, June 30th, Monday morning, that, Amazon laid off X amount of people. It's going to be like mercurial jobs. So it's going to be like Amazon, it's going to be like social media companies that do like shipping, or they do, like maybe even Uber, maybe Tesla, also tech companies, internet companies, software companies. Those kind of companies are going to be laying off people with that Mercury at 3 degrees, opposite Pluto and Aquarius at 3 degrees. So it's just something to watch out for, okay? Because if you are being aspected by this, if you have anything at the beginning degrees of a fixed sign, um, I do. This is squaring me exactly. So I gotta prepare for this because I have a 3 degree Mercury and I have the sun at 4 degrees Scorpio. And so I gotta prepare for this Mercury Pluto opposition coming up next week because this is my sixth house, my 12th house. I'm gonna be leaving for vacation on the next day. So I wonder what's in the wonder ball. Um, yeah, I gotta watch out for this. I gotta watch out for this. I gotta watch out for this. We'll see how this manifests in my life because this is going to be scoring me directly. So there might be some miscommunication issues with my friend. I got to make sure that we got everything going. But yeah, this could also be an issue with my pet because this is my sixth house. So I don't know. We'll see how this manifests in my life. But we got to be very aware of this, okay? This Mercury and Leo, especially going throughout the weekend because Mercury's opposing Pluto. So I don't know. I think there's gonna be more protests this upcoming weekend. Alrighty. Things are a little rough. We also have Uranus sitting at 29 degrees. So, if things are very dramatic right now and very intense, whenever planets get to that 29th degree, which is a karmic critical, degree, 29 that's the degree of let's finish this shit up. Let's wrap it up. It's culmination and completion. And what's interesting about Uranus going into Gemini is right as he goes into Gemini, he makes a sextile to Saturn, Neptune, and he trines Pluto and Aquarius. And he, so it's like there's a lot going on with the planets. Okay, so we just got to keep that in mind. All right, but okay, so let's talk a little bit about okay, so let's talk about the moon in Gemini on Monday and Tuesday, responding to Mercury who's in Cancer, and Mercury squaring Chiron. Let me see if Mercury's doing anything else. Yeah, he's making a sextile to Uranus. Ma 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 ma. So as the moon goes into our new moon in Cancer, Mercury's gonna make a sextile to Uranus on Thursday, right before he goes into Leo. So this is very dramatic. It's very dramatic. There's a lot of kind of like unpredictable energy in the air. We don't really know what's happening, more shocking information in the media, more shocking things at the job, the workplace. It's a sextile, so and we have Venus coming into conjunction with Uranus. They're 9 degrees away from each other on Thursday, June 26th. But this sextile between Uranus and Mercury that's gonna kind of perfect on Thursday. I don't know, y'all. It's looking a little intense. Mercury at 29 degrees. I think, we gotta, okay, so what I will say, we gotta slow down on Thursday, okay? Our nervous system, oh, we're feeling hyper, oh, we're feeling stressed out, we're feeling overwhelmed, things are feeling intense, oh, things are moving very fast. That Mercury, Uranus, sextile, it's like an impulsive energy. Relax. Take a chill pill, babe. Slow down, okay? Do some self-care. Take a salt bath. Go take a dip in the ocean. Go to the water, like go for a walk in nature. Relax. There's a lot of kind of hyper intense energy in the air. We just got to be very aware of that, okay? Because there's just so much going on with Mercury. Mercury is being very stimulated by Uranus. And he's also then, as soon as he goes into Leo, he's separating from that sextile with Uranus, but he's still feeling it. And then he opposes Pluto and Aquarius. So there's just like a lot of stimulating energy. Mercury is a very delicate, very sensitive planet. He's like the size of a marble when compared to the other planets. And so whenever he gets aspects from these bigger planets like Uranus and Pluto, these more powerful planets, we really feel it very intensely. So we just got to be very aware of this, okay? um, on Wednesday, Thursday, and even going into the weekend because Mercury's kind of, there's a lot going on at Mercury. So also, Mercury is ruling over the Mars and Virgo energy. So I think the best place to put this energy is like doing something productive, doing something constructive, doing like just that Mars and Virgo energy is really inviting us to like just get organized and clean things up and be productive and work on your health, maybe do a detox, change your diet, things like that, okay? Coming out of this new moon. All right, so let's go back to the new moon in Cancer. We're at 10:14. So I want these to be I was going to try to make these about an hour long, but that's just not possible for me, I think. So we're going to cap this at 2 hours. We started at 9, so we're doing pretty good time-wise. We got about 45 minutes left. So for those of you that are hanging in there and staying with me, I appreciate you being here. Okay. Also, if you want to support me and buy a badge, you're more than welcome to. Those of you on Instagram. All right. But this will be posted to YouTube later on. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the new moon in Cancer. So the new moon in Cancer is going to be at 4 degrees. I'm going to go do a deep dive on the new moon. I'm just going to lightly talk about it. So the moon in Cancer is going to be Wednesday and Thursday. All right. And we have Sun, Moon, and Jupiter coming into conjunction for our new moon on Wednesday. And we love this new moon because it is Sun, Moon, Jupiter conjunct, right? We have the luminaries with Jupiter, the greater benefic. We have also Venus, right? In a beautiful, she's in her rulership in Taurus in the 11th house away. So I do think this new moon in Cancer is very expansive and opportunistic. I think this new moon in Cancer is very lucky, very blessed for a lot of people. But there's like some kind of delays or some kind of setbacks, or some kind of struggles that we got to push through because it is squaring that Saturn, Neptune, and Aries, right? So it's like there may be a promise that's made to you, there may be a gift or a blessing that's coming in, but you may have to wait for it or be patient with it or fight for it. There may be some competition involved with that blessing, with that opportunity or something, because of that influence of Saturn, Neptune, and Aries. So I just want you guys to keep this in mind. for the new moon. This new moon, the moon going into Cancer, Sun, Jupiter in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer for the new, very emotional. We're going to be feeling very sensitive, very soft, very, we're going to be thinking about the past. It's one of the things that always comes up when we're talking about Cancer energy is the past and our relationship to the past and what the past means to us and things like this. So I just want you guys to think about that. You might start feeling very nostalgic. You might feel the need to go visit your mom or talk to your mom. Everybody coming in, welcome. We're talking about the new moon in Cancer. And you may feel the need to create something. You want to birth something, like I was talking about earlier in the live. You want to birth something, you want to create something. We're also, because Jupiter is connected to travel and foreign international places. I also do think that there's going to be a lot of people. Yeah, we also have Pisces in the North Node in the ninth house. A lot of people going on vacation for this new moon or booking a vacation or traveling, me included. That's so funny. I'm going on vacation during this new moon cycle. Like I was saying earlier, I'm going on my first cruise. I'm flying back to California and I'm going on my first cruise. And so it's interesting how with Sun, Jupiter, Neptune, or Sun, Jupiter, Moon together, and Jupiter ruling over the ninth house away from the new moon, which is in Pisces, and we have the North Node there. It's like we're feeling the need to escape. We're feeling the need to travel. We're feeling the need to explore. We're feeling the need to come into contact with foreign cultures, foreign places, or things that are outside of our norm in some type of way. There's a lot of that stimulating energy in the air. Also, Mercury and Uranus are in a sextile with each other, right? Which is good. It's a great stimulating aspect because there's an invitation with this new moon to kind of like break free in some type of way, or to, break free out of our routines, break free out of our habits. This is a beautiful new moon for cultivating discipline. And like, let's say you want to abstain from something or you want to like make a commitment to like let something go, like a bad habit or bad behavior. This is a beautiful new moon to do that in. We have Mercury and Uranus. Mercury, the planet of habits and the mind and our thoughts, sextile Uranus, the planet of emancipation and freedom. Then we have a new moon square Saturn. So it's like good for discipline and self-control and like this energy of like, no, I'm not going to do this. Let's say you want to give up smoking, you want to give up drinking, you want to stop eating meat, right? Or you want to cultivate some kind of discipline in your life, right? We have this new moon also sextile Mars. You want to add a new habit into your life. Beautiful new moon to do that. I would say start that with this new moon. Start that new habit. Either let go of a habit or adopt a healthy habit with this new moon. It's a beautiful energy to do that in. It's a beautiful energy to like make some kind of dramatic shift or change. Okay. And we're feeling good. We're generally feeling good with this new moon, I believe. We have Sun, Moon, Jupiter all in a conjunction. We're feeling like nourishing ourselves and taking care of ourselves. We're feeling more positive and optimistic. So I'd really encourage you to just, reflect on that. Um, reflect on that, okay? Also, I will tell you, be open for those of you that are like looking for jobs or trying to make a career change or things like this. You got to think outside the box, okay? The nature of work and what work means and the types of jobs that people are going to be getting is all evolving. It's all changing. And you got to really think outside of the box. You got to be open to things that you be open to things that you've never done before or just like trying your hand at different things, okay? You got to be very creative right now. It's a time where you got to be very creative. You got to really trust in your ideas. I think, the direction of the economy in general is moving towards entrepreneurism and being self-employed and people having short-term contracts with companies that where they're not going to be working for companies for 10, 15, 20 years the way it was in the past. That age of, the 9 to 5 is dying. It's evolving in some type of way. And I think we just got to be really honest with that. We can't fight that truth. So I just want you guys to think about that for this new moon, okay? Um, but yeah, I think it's a beautiful new moon, family, babies, nourishing ourselves, caretaking, go to the doctor, get a mammogram, the moon rules over our breasts, it rules over our stomach, work on your digestive system, spend time with babies or children, go play with your little animals, start going on walks every day, you know. Go visit a therapist if you need it. Jupiter is connected to therapists, like coaches, you got a breathwork facilitator, you got your therapist, you got this wonderful counselor, you have this, why you have a grandparent, right? Jupiter's connected to grandparents. So you have this wonderful relationship with a grandparent that is like so sweet and so kind. Call them for the new moon, get some advice from them. Jupiter is the planet that we go to for consultation when it comes to things that are beyond us. So when you go visit a doctor, when you go visit a lawyer, when you talk to a therapist, when you talk to these people that have put in time in school, they've educated themselves, and they learned something, right? Or they have some kind of wisdom, they have some kind of knowledge based off experience. That's more of a Saturn thing. That's like a Jupiter Saturn thing. And so, make yourself open and available to consultation. If you are, you have questions that you need answered and you can't answer them yourself right now, and you're just kind of very confused or something, go talk to a Jupiter person, okay? They'll make you, if anything, they'll make you feel better, and they'll give you a nugget of wisdom. I think this is also a beautiful new moon for spiritual or religious practice. I think that, pray for this new moon, do some meditation. You know what I mean? Go talk to the planets, which is something that I do all the time. I have a very strong relationship with the planets, and I'll ask them, "What do you want me to do, son? What do you want me to do, Jupiter? What's the answer, Mercury? Like, give me some information. Like, talk to the planets as if they were a like as if they were a person. The planets, in my opinion, I have a whole philosophy around this, and I'll talk about this eventually one day. I have a whole philosophy that the planets are conscious and the planets are intentional, and the planets they've all been given a task or a job to do by God, by the divine. And the planets are all employees of God, of spirit, of the divine. And we've been worshiping them since the beginning of time. The planets are the gods, and they are the literal manifestation of God's consciousness. And they're real. They're not we're not bullshitting. Like, the planets are real. You can go and look in a telescope and see them. You can go out at nighttime and look in the sky, and you will see the gods in the sky. You will see the planets. They're tangible. They're real. They're not abstract. They're not. This is like, how can you not believe in astrology? Because you can go outside and look in the sky and see the planets. They're the most real aspect of the divine. They're the most tangible aspect of the divine. You can look at them with the naked eye and talk to them. Come on now. How can you not believe? Right? So I think if you want to consult the planet, ask them, right? Talk to Mercury, talk to Jupiter, talk Saturn. What do you want me to do? Petition to them. This is why when you go and look at the Hindu religion, they have prayers for all the planets. They have a god for every planet. They have given every planet a name. This goes way back in human culture. Like, you look at all these different cultures, they've all given names to the planets. They worship the sun, they worship Jupiter, they worship Venus, they worship Mercury. It's been happening since the beginning of time. Okay. So we need to start developing more of a deeper connection, I believe, to the planets. And we need to stop seeing them as like these objective, disconnected energies that are just like bossing us around or pulling us. No, they have your best interest in mind. Just like God, the creator, the divine spirit, the universe, whatever the hell you want to use for that, the great oneness wants you to succeed, wants you to win, wants you to be the best version of yourself, wants you to be happy and joyous. But you got to meet them halfway, and you got to consult with them, and you got to ask them, what is my direction? Help me out. You got to petition for them, right? Like, with them. They can't intervene unless you help them. It's the same thing with our spirit team or with our ancestors that are trying to help us and be of service to us on their side of the veil. You have to ask, right? There's certain rules that they have to abide by, right? Like, you got to think about this. The planets don't have free will. They don't. They don't. The planets are forced. I don't know if they're forced, but they probably do it willingly. They move around, right? They orbit around the sun because the sun is a central authority. And the sun tells them, this is your orbit and this is what you're going to do. And they sit there orbiting around the sun, whether they like it or not. They don't have free will. They're doing God's work. But not us. Not us. We are these unique creatures, okay, that have been given our own mind and our own consciousness, our own sense of self, right? And we have free will. We could do it, or we can't. We can or we won't, right? It's up to us. And I want you guys to think about that, right? But what I'm going back to my original point with this new moon in Cancer, consult Jupiter. Ask Jupiter. This is Jupiter for me right here. This is Jupiter for me right here. Ganesh. Ganesha is the Hindu god that's connected to the planet Jupiter, right? And whenever I want to know something, that's why you see all my elephants. Look at this, I got him right here. There's another one right there. Okay, I got him everywhere. Look at he's everywhere. Okay, it's because he's my guiding light. Whenever I do a reading, I have him right here, guiding me, giving me his wisdom, giving me his guidance. I take him with. I have all these little tiny Ganeshas that I take with me whenever I travel, wherever I go. Whenever I do a reading, Ganesha's there with me. Because this is Jupiter for me, right? For me, this is Jupiter, right? I'm a Pisces rising. I have Jupiter trining my Saturn. I have Saturn in Sagittarius. Everything comes back to Jupiter in my chart. So, like, Jupiter, and yeah, elephants are ruled by Jupiter. All the big creatures are Jupiterian. Whales, elephants, rhinos, these are all Jupiterian creatures, right? So consult Jupiter. Ask Jupiter, what do you want me to do? Talk to the moon. Talking to the moon. Right? It's a new moon in Cancer. You may not see her because she's gonna be dark, but talk to the moon. Go ask the moon what she wants you to do. Go talk to the sun. Okay? Have a conversation. See what they have to tell you. Okay? See what she has to tell you. The sun and the moon. Okay? The luminaries, the life bringers. All right? You should, and honestly, you should for everybody, you should develop a relationship with the planet that rules your rising, that rules your sun, and that rules your moon, especially those three. You should develop a relationship with those planets. You need to understand your sun, moon, and your rising. Because the planet that rules your rising sign, your first house, your ascendant, that planet is directing your life. That planet, you are an embodiment of that planet's energy. Like that planet literally manifests in your physical form. That planet rules over your body. It rules over your sense of self that you're not aware of. How you show up in the world, how you physically manifest in the world. That planet has given you manifestation energy. That planet has given you the hard material for your body to manifest, right? That planet rules over your consciousness, your body. Well, I don't want to say your consciousness because that's more of a sun thing, but it rules over your body, your physical form, the vessel, the personality, your character, how you're navigating this world. That planet is connected to that. You got to do that planet. You absolutely have to, your rising sign. The sun sign, the planet that rules your sun, okay, is the planet that rules over your ability to shine and your consciousness and your sense of self and your identity and your public persona and your joy and your happiness and your inner child and your creativity and your sense of fun. That's your sun. That's the planet that rules over your sun. You got to do that planet. You got to build a relationship with that planet. That planet is going to help you be seen, help you rise into positions of authority or leadership. That planet's going to help you be confident and help you be joyous and help you be expressive. That planet's going to amplify your solar plexus. You got to do your sun planet too. And you got to do your moon planet, the planet that rules your moon. Because that planet is your sense of safety, your security, your emotional foundation, right? Your intuition, your inner self, who you are in private. You got to do that planet. Those three planets, you got to understand. You got to do them. You got to build a relationship with them. For you to, I know, listen, my moon's in Capricorn. Me and Saturn are like this. We're buddy buddy. Okay? I'm still figuring out my Mars. I'm a Scorpio. I'm still figuring out, I'm working on my Mars. That's why I've been going to the gym and swimming. Because I got to do my Mars. I know this. I have so much Mars, Jupiter in Aries, ruled by Mars and Libra. My Scorpio stellium, ruled by Mars and Libra. I haven't been doing my Mars and I'm working on it, okay? Because I'm here to do my Mars. I'm working on that. But me and Jupiter and me and Saturn have a great relationship. My Mars, on the other hand, oh, these men. You know what it is? I'm gonna tell you what it is. I let other men, I let men take away and sabotage my relationship with Mars. I'm not doing that no more though. had to come. I've been having a come to Jesus moment over the last year, I would say, with my Mars when the nodes were going through Libra and Aries, and I was going through my nodal return, and I realized like the reason why I have a disconnected relationship with my Mars, the planet ruling over my Sun and my Venus, my Mercury, is because I've allowed woundedness with men because Mars is men. I've internalized woundedness with men, and I had to heal that. I had to. I'm working on that. I'm working on letting that go and being in a right relationship with Mars. And, I have a lot of I have a weak Mars. I have Mars in Libra, so I've had to work on being more assertive. I've had to I have North Node in Aries, Jupiter in Aries. I have to work on being more passionate, more assertive, more action oriented, keeping myself going energetically. I can't be lazy. South Node in Mars in Libra. That's my most difficult placement, I must say. You got to know your strengths and know your weaknesses. When you're learning your chart, you got to know the parts of your chart that are like the strongest, and you got to know the parts of the chart where you're vulnerable and where you're weak and that you struggle with. And it's going to take you some time to work on your difficult planets. For many people, it takes some years to figure it out, or they never figure it out. So yeah, for me, it's my eighth house Mars in Libra with the South Node. Oh Lord Jesus, what did I do to deserve that? I have this philosophy. I don't know. I'm testing it, but I've seen it. I'm not testing it. I'm just seeing if it applies. Where people that have Mars and Libra, they always end up in relationships with people that are already in a relationship, or they're already married, or they end up being attracted to people that are already like, yeah, connected to somebody. I'm noticing it. I'm noticing it as a pattern. So I don't know. I'll talk more about that. Once I get more confirmations about that. But I have this idea that there's something about people that have Mars and Libra. I think they were cheaters, or I think they partnered with people in past lives that were already in relationships, or they like destroyed families, or they destroyed like happy, loving relationships because they were like in past lives they were like jealous, or they were competitive in love, or they ended up in relationships with people that, they knew that someone was like off the market, or they knew that someone was like, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be in that relationship with that person because you're gonna like mess up their life, right? But they did it anyways. And I think that's the karma of people that have Mars and Libra. I'll talk more about that. I don't know. These are just downloads that I get when I do readings, and I'll talk more about that as I flesh out that philosophy. But yeah, that's the download I've gotten for myself, at least, which is that Mars and Libra is a very karmic placement. Anyways, when it comes to love, especially. But anyways, yeah. So for this new moon in Cancer, consult the planets, talk to Jupiter, talk to the moon, ask them what they want you to do, especially if you're lost or confused, or consult a Jupiterian person. Okay, everybody coming in, welcome. All right. So yeah, so then we have the moon in Cancer Wednesday and Thursday, and um, let me see, when does it go into Leo? And then we have the moon in Leo. Okay, yeah. So I'm looking at Friday. The moon's at 26 degrees Cancer, Friday going into Friday. And then by midday Friday, the moon goes into Leo. And the moon's going to be in Leo throughout the weekend. Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. And then on Monday, the moon goes into Virgo. Oh, actually, no, midday. Midday Sunday, the moon goes into Virgo, and by Monday morning, the moon is sitting with Mars. So yeah, the moon's gonna be in Cancer until Friday midday, and the moon in Cancer is gonna have us feeling all the feels. Okay, feeling very sentimental, but also feeling good because it's a new moon with Sun Moon separating from Jupiter. So it's feeling good. It's feeling expansive. We're feeling good, and the moon goes into Leo, and then when the moon goes into Leo, as Mercury goes into Leo as well. So we're having a lot of conversation and communication. We're like talking to people. We're hanging out with our friends. We're hanging out with our family. We're hanging out with our siblings. We're feeling very busy. We're feeling very stimulated, right? We have Sun, Jupiter still in that sextile with Mars, and we have Mercury and the moon coming together on Friday as the moon is transiting Leo Friday, Saturday, and Sunday before it goes into Virgo and hits a conjunction with Mars, who's in Virgo. So it's like this is a very energetic week. right? Someone said I have Mars in Libra. I was completely unavailable to myself, so I chose men who were unavailable to relationships. They were not in relationships, but confused. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very that Mars in Libra, man. Whew, it's the type of men that we get, that we attract, or that we are attracted to. I think also another karmic thing with Mars in Libra is being attracted to men that are just like handsome or good looking, or they're like, there's some that like they may have a good job, they may make money, they may be handsome or good looking, but like deep down inside on a soul level, on a personality level, there's like incompatibility. I think that could be a Mars and Virgo thing as well. So, but yeah. Anyway, so Moon and Leo, right? Throughout the weekend, parties and celebrations. Yeah, surface, not substance with Mars and Libra. Yep. I've had to learn this the hard way, my loves. I've had to learn this the hard way. I love myself. I love myself a handsome man with Mars and Libra. Oh Lord, do I like my men pretty? I do. I love myself a pretty boy. But oh, they're so bad. So many of them. Oh, they can be really challenging. Oh my goodness. Oh, Lord Jesus, help me. Save me, Father. Save me, Jesus. Rescue me, okay? Shower your blessings upon my love life, okay? Shower your blessings upon my love life, okay? I do not want to be attracted to men that have envy in their heart, that have narcissism in their heart, okay, that are jealous, okay, men that are unavailable emotionally. I don't want to be attracted to shallow men, Lord Jesus. Save me, God. Trying to get over it. I'm trying to heal that. I just got to work on my Mars. I know. I'm doing the work though. I'm doing the work. So, anyways, Moon and Leo on the weekend. Parties. Leo. What does Leo rule? Children, fun, celebrations, parties, recognition, right? Your father, hanging out with your kids, hanging out with your father, hanging out with daddies. Love me a daddy or two or three. I'm just kidding. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Love myself. Ooh, I love me. And you know what else I like? You know what I'm realizing? I love myself a Leo man. I love me some Leo man energy. I do. I love me some Leo man energy. I love me a handsome Leo man. I love me a daddy. That's what I like Capricorn energy. I like Aquarius energy. I like Leo energy. Okay? It's giving daddy. Okay. It's giving, oh, daddy, take care of me. That's what it's giving. Okay. So the moon's gonna be in Leo. The daddies are gonna be out in their hoochie shorts this weekend with the moon in Leo. Anthony said that it's Pride in New York. I'm coming. Listen, before I get to LA, I'm flying out on Friday. I'm gonna stop off. I'm gonna do a little drive-by New York Pride Saturday, Sunday, and then I'm coming back, and then I'm coming to LA on Monday. Oh my God, that would have been so fun. But no, I got my. Oh, you know what's oh my, you know what's a. Oh, you know what I just realized? Oh my God, it's so funny. Leo, my dad's a Leo, and on Saturday, as the moon is going into Leo and hitting Mercury, I'm actually going to lunch. We're doing a lunch date, me and my family, for my dad for his birthday. He had his birthday on oh no, for Father's Day. No, it's not for his birthday. He's a Leo, so his birthday is not until yeah, in a few months. But for Father's Day, so my dad, we not like they didn't do anything for for Father's Day for him. Father's Day was like what, a few weeks ago. So we're actually going to be going to a really nice restaurant on Saturday to celebrate my dad for Father's Day. So it's so funny how my dad's a Leo, and as the moon is in Leo, I'm going to hang out with my dad, or we're doing something for my dad on Saturday. So that's hilarious. I just put that together. That's so funny. I'm telling you, the astrology is always on point, y'all. The astrology never lies. It is so like aligned. And it's funny because my dad, yeah, he's a Scorpio rising, with Leo in the 10th house. and I'm a Scorpio sun. Can you guys hear me? We still there? I'm receiving a phone call. I'm gonna wait for it to go to voicemail. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, good. I'm glad that the phone calls are not messing up my audio. Someone said, "What about cancer men?" Cancer men are mommies. Okay, mama's boys. Cancer men will take care of you and nurture you, but they're not gonna give you that. Cancer men are soft and squishy. Cancer men, they'll cook for you, they'll clean for you. They're more like domestic. And it's the same thing with Virgo men. Virgo, Cancer men, I think of the earth signs, I think Capricorn, I think the daddies of the earth signs and the water signs are Scorpio and Capricorn. Okay. Runner-ups are going to be the runner-up will be Taurus. But I think the daddies of the water signs and the earth signs are Capricorn and Scorpio. If you want a daddy Scorpio, if you want a daddy water sign, don't look to Cancer and Pisces. You need yourself a Scorpio. Okay. And I always think about this with like Drake. I love me some Drake. No, no, I love like there's just so many songs like I'm just saying you can do better. I'm just sorry. Da, 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 da. What was that song? Marvin's Room? Don't get me playing some Drake. But yeah, he's a Leo rising, 29-degree Leo rising with the Scorpio sun. And I think Scorpio men are, I think they're of the water signs, I think they're the daddies because they're a fixed sign. They're ruled by Mars, they have a certain masculinity to them. It's a soft masculinity, but it's a masculinity. But if you're looking for a daddy, don't get yourself a Virgo or a Cancer or a Pisces. Okay. Well, just don't do it. Or a Gemini man. Unless he's got like a really a strong Mercury. If he has Mercury and Leo and he's a Gemini. Or he has like Sun Mars together. I know a Gemini guy that has Sun Mars together and he's a bodybuilder. Very handsome man. He's giving daddy energy because he has Sun Mars together. Um, and I think he has Mercury. Oh, he has Venus and Taurus too. Yeah, he has Mercury, Venus, and Taurus. So very handsome, very attractive man. That one right there. But yeah, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So Moon and Leo throughout the weekend. A lot of fun, a lot of celebration. We're going to parties. We have Mercury who just goes into Leo. We're like living out loud. Mercury's also going to make this trine to Saturn. So there's this energy of like kind of a control and authority. Mercury's opposing Pluto, making a trine to Saturn and Neptune. So I also think, this weekend, we need to be very aware of the rules and the regulations of the spaces that we're finding ourselves in. Mercury wants to kind of be free and have fun, and Saturn wants to like enforce the law. Saturn is kind of like the party pooper. Saturn is like, you guys is the old man coming out. You kids need to go to bed. Calling the cops because it's 10 o'clock and he wants to go to bed and he hears the kids partying next door. That's Saturn. So we just want to be very aware of that. But it's a supportive aspect though. It's Mercury trine Saturn, and Mercury trine Saturn are friends. So I think Mercury trine Saturn is it's a supportive aspect. It's a good aspect. So it's not there's no harshness. But we do have the sun, which is authority figures separating from a square Saturn. But sun's already at 7 degrees, where Saturn's at 1. So I feel like with sun separating from Saturn, it's like he's kind of free. Sun, Jupiter are freeing themselves from Saturn's grasp in a lot of ways. So it just looks like it's like a fun and also the moon is going to be squaring Lilith on Saturday. Ooh, the moon is separating from a square with Lilith on Saturday, from Friday going to Saturday. So some of y'all are doing bad girl, bad boy activities. Mm-hmm. Friday night, someone is doing bad boy, bad girl activities. Moon and Leo squaring Lilith and Scorpio. The new Sun Jupiter trining Lilith. Okay, the new moon is trining Lilith. y'all are doing bad boy, bad girl activities on over the weekend, but especially Friday, Saturday with the moon square Lilith. We have the new moon square Lilith or trining Lilith. So some of y'all are listen, you're meeting some new partners this upcoming weekend. You're meeting some new lovers, okay? You ain't holding out, okay? This is looking like giving in. Okay? This is like, oh no, I'm just here to have fun and party. This is waking up in a stranger's bed the next day. Okay, that's what this is giving. So, so just make sure you're being safe. Make sure you're playing safe if you are going to be going to Pride this up, or whatever. The risk of Jupiter energy is overindulging, doing too much of things, drinking too much, partying too much, taking too much, of whatever. Just excess, right? The risk of Jupiter is excess. And Saturn is trying to tell him, don't know your boundaries, know your limitations, know when it's time to go home, know when it's time to stop drinking, know when it's time to say no, right? Because Jupiter, Sun, Moon is like, yes, ooh, yes, all the things, all the boys, all the sex, all the, it's like, give me everything, it's like that's definitely a Jupiter thing. But Saturn is like, no, like know your limitations. Know when it's time to stop. Know when it's time to go home. Okay, that square. I actually really like that square that Saturn are making it, or that Sun Jupiter making a Saturn, because it's kind of like putting a cap on it. It's like knowing what your limitations are, knowing what your boundaries are, knowing when it's time to say no, right? Because Jupiter is yes and Saturn is no. So just want you guys to think about that for those of you going out this weekend with the moon in Leo. And some of y'all are dressing, you want to be seen this weekend. The moon is in Leo with Mercury. We want to be heard. We want to be seen. Some of y'all you're dressing, wearing the craziest ish you've ever worn. You got your tits out, you got your ass out, okay? You got the booty shorts on. You got the hoochie daddy shorts on. Okay, the hair is giving big and loud. We got the jewelry hanging off the ears. We got the big old hoop earrings on. We got the big old glass. That's what I love about Leo energy. Leos, they're going out to be seen. Everything is big. The hair is big. The earrings are big. The glasses are big. Okay? The booty shorts are small. The clothes are tight. Okay? The boobs are hanging out. Okay? The ass is hanging out. Okay? We can see the bottom of the booty cheeks. That's what Leo is giving. That's what the moon in Leo is giving this weekend. Anybody that knows a Leo, okay, and especially they got a combination of Leo and Cancer, okay, they showing off their chest, they're showing off their back, okay, they're showing off that booty, okay. It is what it is. It's the God made them that way, okay. Wearing all the labels, yeah. Well, that's like a Libra thing too. You'll see the people that have like the Leo Taurus, Leo Libra thing going on. The combination of like the Libra and or even Virgo. Virgo and Libra are signs that love labels. They're like the label wearers, and also Pisces. Taurus, Pisces, Virgo, Libra, these are signs that like labels. They're wearing the labels. When you got the combination of like, the Leo Cancer with the like they're wearing the labels. Leo Cancer with like the Libra, Taurus, Pisces, Virgo. That's when you're gonna get the labels, the name brands and stuff. But yeah, it's a fun, exciting weekend. Oh my God. I'm excited. I'm flying back home on Friday. So I'm gonna be hanging out with my family with the moon in Leo, hanging out with my pops, going doing a delayed Father's Day meal with pops on Saturday. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's my sixth house though, so I don't know. It's gonna be a little struggle. I feel like I'm gonna be busy. I think that's whenever the moon goes to your sixth house, you're typically busy. You're like on the go. You're like here and then you're there. It's a very exhausting energy. Like pay attention. Like when the sun goes through the sign of your sixth house and when the moon goes through that house every month, um, there's gonna be an increase of productivity and obligation, and you're gonna be like very, very busy. There's gonna be like a lot of tasks that seem to accumulate or get done with that moon transit and with that sun transit. You'll notice this. I think, yeah, you should be those of you wanting to learn astrology, you should definitely be tracking the planets throughout your chart. My hair is looking good today, I must say. Um, it looks like I got like a fire up here, huh? Look at this hair. This hair is looking good. Oh, it's all shiny. I've been getting sun, so when the hair gets sun, it ends up looking good. Sorry, I I had a little moment. Had a little moment there. Sorry about that. But yeah, Leo. What were we talking about? Oh, I was talking about, okay, yeah, if you're learning astrology, you want to learn astrology and you want to see how it moves in your everyday life, you should be looking at the transit chart like every day and looking at where the moon is moving through when it comes to your own chart. Like if the moon's in Leo, what house do you have Leo in and how's that showing up, right? If the moon is going through Virgo in their seventh house or whatever house it's in, how's that showing up in your life at that particular time? It's a great way to see astrology manifest in your life in real time. And it's a great practice so that you can understand and kind of learn what that house means or how the energy shows up in that house or what your relationship with that house is or what your lived experience of that house is. I think one of the most important things when it comes to astrology is making it real and tangible and observing it and seeing it happen in your life. And that's how you learn, or even observing it and seeing it happen in the life of others. Like whenever people that I know go through things, or even like, because I do this every day, I do readings, not every day, but I do readings majority of the week. It's my full-time gig. Um, I always have people to, okay, what's going on? Like, what's going on in your lived experience? Like, what are you going through, right? I always ask people if they want to talk about something in particular or whatever. Many times people don't, but a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, I have a question on this particular thing. And I could see it in the chart right away. I could see what's going on. Oh yeah, I'm going through like a job change, or there's something changing with, or I'm sick. They got Saturn touching their Mercury. They have their Saturn in the sixth house. They have their sixth house ruler being afflicted, right? The sixth house rules your health and rules your job. And so I'll notice that the sixth house ruler or something in the sixth house is happening to it, right? The ruler of the sixth house, the ruler of the sixth house in transit is something, or there's something in the sixth house that's happening um, that really shows us the event and their current lived experience, right? And then I'll go look at other charts. I'll look at their, and solar return chart. I'll look at their perfections. I'll look at other things to see that reinforced or even to understand what the outcome is going to be. So beautiful way you got to make astrology real. The only way astrology is important is if it's applicable, you know? It's like, it's not enough to just study it and learn it. It's not enough. You have to apply it because otherwise, like, how do you make the information, right, which is objective, how do you make it real and applicable, and how do you see it manifest? Like, where is the tire hitting the road? Like, if you can't build that bridge, or if you're unable to, then the knowledge and the wisdom is pointless, you know? And I see this a lot. Like, I see this with a lot of I don't like talking about other astrologers. I'm very against, like, speaking about other people, but one of the things I've noticed is like there's a lot of astrologers that are textbook astrologers. What I mean by that is it's like they've gone to school and they've studied and they've been reading all the books and they've been doing it for years and years, but they actually don't do readings for people, or they don't apply their knowledge, or they only do it for themselves. So they really haven't put their wisdom and their knowledge and what they've learned to the test. Because what I've realized in my own practice as a practicing astrologer, as someone who does readings consistently every week for people, and I do multiple readings, and I've been doing this for years, right, is a lot of the things that I've learned in books actually don't show up or manifest or are very different in people's lived experience. And what I read in a book for an astrologer that only did readings for straight people does not apply to my LGBT clients. It doesn't apply to my people of color clients because a lot of the books that I read are astrologers that are white men. I'm going to be honest. The majority of astrology is based on off of the male perspective and also the white male perspective. So as a LGBT brown man, okay, doing astrology, my clients are not white men. Most of my clients are women, and most of them are people of color, or most of them are LGBT people. So how does the astrology manifest for them? It's very different because their lived experience and their relationship with the planets and what they go is very different. So the books that I read do half of the knowledge is not applicable to them. So I've had to learn and cultivate my own relationship and understanding of astrology and the planets because they manifest differently in my client's lived experience. And there's no book that's going to tell you that. There's no book that's about LGBT astrology. There's very few. You see what I'm saying? So it's like there's like you have to learn, you have to do readings for people, you have to, get to know people, you have to develop a relationship with others to see how the astrology manifests in their life. And there's many things that you're only going to learn through the experience of being an astrologer and practicing and putting your knowledge to the test to see if it applies. There's a lot of things I've learned that I'm like, that is not true. I read this and that's not true. Because in my experience as being an astrologer, what I've learned is like what that information that I read from a book, totally contradicts what people go through. You see what I'm saying? So I just want you guys to keep this in mind for those of you that are wanting to go deeper into astrology, or maybe you have been studying it, or maybe you want to develop an astrological practice at some point. It's like you have to do readings for people. And you have to, even if you're not doing readings, you have to like ask people questions and look at their chart and kind of analyze it. And you got to put your knowledge into practice. That's the only way you're going to learn and you're going to grow. And that's the only way you're going to really see whether or not what you've read is true, you know? Because there's a lot of people that we can't help it, right? We are always going to create things and we're going to write things and we're going to understand things from our lived experience and from our perspective, right? Like if you, like for instance, if an astrologer is a 40-year-old man and he's only doing astrology readings for other people that are in their 40s or 50s, right? Or he's only doing astrology readings for people that are, from of a certain complexion or from a certain ethnicity or culture, you're how are you going to know how those planets manifest for people that are younger? How are you going to know how those planets manifest for people that are um, women? If you're a male astrologer, you only do readings for men, right? It's going to be very different. And I see this very strongly in the charts of men and women. Women and men have a different relationship with the planets. They manifest differently in people's lives, especially gendered wise. And that's just a truth. Like, a Scorpio man and a Scorpio woman are going to have two totally different experiences because women have a stronger relationship with the feminine signs. This is why you get these Virgo women with the sun in Virgo, and they're powerful and they're bossy and they're going out in the world and they're achieving and they're, they're telling everyone what to do. And then you get these Virgo men that are like, oh, they're all sensitive and insecure and nervous and paranoid and, they have a hard time shining and they struggle with their confidence. And you have these Virgo women that are like, get the fuck out of my way. I got work to do. And it's because the planets manifest differently based off gender, even. A lot of people don't understand that. They think, oh, all Virgos gonna be. No, actually, if you're a man or you're a woman, your relationship with your Virgo energy is gonna be very, very different. And I see Virgo men struggle with Virgo placements, where Virgo women are like doing it like they've done it a million times before. You know. I just want to share that insight because, we got to make astrology real and applicable. And the way I see it as well is like I'm very creative with astrology. I see myself as like an artist. I'm a creative person. I consider myself an artist in many different ways. And so I have a very experimental, very open relationship with astrology, where there's a lot of other astrologers that are very like rule oriented and very structured and very rigid, and it has to be like this and it has to be like this. And get no, that's not the way I do astrology. I also do tarot, right? I don't even need many times I don't even need tarot cards or in a chart to tell me something. Sometimes I just get downloads and I just know things about people because I'm very intuitive. I'm very psychic as well, right? And I have Saturn Uranus together in Sagittarius, so I'm not trying to follow the lines. I'm trying to color outside of the lines. I'm trying to push the limitations of astrology. I'm trying to make it my own. I'm trying to invent and create new ways of doing astrology. I'm not concerned. I love traditional astrology though. My foundation is Hellenistic traditional astrology. I love Babylonian astrology. I love Islamic astrology. I love, Grecian astrology. I love that. I love the past. I have a Capricorn moon. That's my foundation, but I'm creating something new. I'm building something new. Astrology is evolving. All of these things are evolving, right? They need to, right? And so it's like if I'm studying Vedic astrology, if I'm studying modern psychological astrology, if I'm studying Hellenistic ancient astrology, of course I'm going to merge them all and make them my own. I can't help it. And that's what musicians do, right? You see a lot of musicians, they like to color out their music evolves over time. Some of the greatest, best musicians, you see their music go through an evolutionary journey. So why not with astrology as well? Why not with tarot reading as well? Why not with being an intuitive as well? These we should always be evolving and growing. We should always be learning and expanding in some type of way, right? And I really just it just irks me when, you know, I get it's crazy because I have like astrologers that I have like astrologers, I'm gonna put that in quotes, that have like attacked me because I have they're like, oh, where did you how can you make that claim, like that's, where are your claims at, like where's your citations, like where did you read that from, baby, I came up with that myself. Okay? That's from my experience as a practicing astrologer. You're not going to know this because I've learned this in doing readings for people over many, many years. And I've done tons of readings. I've done thousands of readings for people. Okay? You have studied astrology, but I practice it. I do it daily. Okay? I look at charts every day and I read charts professionally, and it's different. It's a different experience. You can go to school and be a student, okay? Or you can actually do it. All right? And it's a very different thing. Okay? But it's interesting because it's like it's just so crazy to me how people are so quick to attack and judge and think that they're an authority on something. And it's like actually you're not. Okay? You don't, because you're an artist, you don't go to other artists and tell them, "Oh, you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know what you're talking about." You have your art and they have their art. And everyone's going to express it in different ways. You see what I'm saying? And it's just insanity to me that there's these have no idea who I am. They have no idea who I am. They have no idea that I've been practicing for years. Okay, and listen. I stay booked and busy. I don't worry about my listen. You go. You worry about yourself. Okay, and your little 200, 300 followers. Okay, you worry about yourself. Right? Like, don't worry about what I'm posting, what I'm doing. Don't worry about, because you go to my posts, there's tons of people liking them. Oh my God, this resonates. Oh my God, this makes so much sense. Oh my God, right? Come on now. Yeah, I love that someone said that. Not all God's gifts can be studied. Exactly. Exactly. There's some things that I know astrologically that you are not going to read in a book, because why? I learned them and I observed them by doing readings for people regularly. Regularly. Like daily. I used to do it daily, but now I give myself a few days off because I get burnt out. I'm a Pisces rising, so. But yeah, I think we gotta approach our practices, whether it be divination, whether it be you're a musician, we got to approach these things with a certain openness, with an open-mindedness. And we got to kind of, and some people are meant to do the rigid structure. That's them. That's the way they're going to go about it. But I think we really limit ourselves. And when we don't give ourselves permission to color outside the lines and explore and experiment and like try new things. You know what I mean? There's certain astrological methods or techniques that I use that I have not read anywhere. And there's certain things that I understand about how the planets manifest in people's lives, because I have to do readings for people where astrology, there hasn't been any books written about them and how astrology manifests for them, As a gay man, I'm like looking for books about LGBT astrology, and where the fuck is it? I can't find it. Right? Oh yeah, there's a lot of relationship partnership stuff for straight people, right? But what about partnership and love stuff for gay people? Where's that at? Where are the books on that? Where's the experience on that? I don't see it. I'm not finding it anywhere. So I've had to come up with my own methods. I might come up with my own understanding of how to look for that for, relationships, or for LGBT people in relationships, you know? Living testimonies, I agree. It's not the same to have an idea of something than to go through it. Yeah. And that's what Saturn teaches us, right? Like Jupiter is college, right? Jupiter is you go to college and you learn about it, right? But Saturn is learning through the experience and through the struggle of doing it. Saturn teaches you through lived experience and struggle, where Jupiter teaches you through knowledge and wisdom and like studying books. And that's the difference between Saturn and Jupiter as teachers. Saturn is going to teach you how to do something by putting you through it, by throwing you into the fire, by like your experience of it. You develop, and that's wisdom. It's very different. Knowledge is different from wisdom. You accumulate wisdom through your experience, where you accumulate knowledge through studying and learning in books and going to college and things like this. They're different things, right? But you have to apply knowledge to develop wisdom. And sometimes you do have to obtain knowledge to strengthen your wisdom as well. Like they feed each other. You see what I'm saying? And so that's one of the things I really feel like with a lot of astrologers is like, or what I've noticed in my run-ins with other astrologers is like they've studied and they've researched and they've gotten their diploma and all this in astrology, but they're not practicing. They have no experience. They do very little, few readings for people, or they only do readings for others within the astrological community. They've never done a reading for someone that like they don't do readings for everyday people the way I do. I do readings for people that are from all walks of life. I do readings for babies. I do readings for elderly people, for people in their 60s, 70s, 80s. I do readings for people in Australia. I do readings for people in China. I do readings for people in the Middle East. I do readings for people in Europe. I do everywhere. And they do not do readings for like the common person, right? I had this experience. We're gonna wrap up here in a bit because it's already been 2 hours, but I had this experience where all these astrologers not all, but there was like a few astrologers. I was talking about how Saturn can manifest as abuse and control in relationships in synastry. Synastry is like relationship astrology, right? This happened like so funny because this actually happened on the full moon in Scorpio. That was right on my Venus in the ninth house. It was just so interesting to see it manifest. But this happened like a month and a half ago now. And they took one of my posts and they were like, "Oh, this is why you got to be discerning when it comes to astrologers. And this is why, you can't just trust any astrologer because they'll be just spewing BS and blah blah." And like had this one astrologer like repost my post and just like totally try to denounce what I was sharing about how Saturn could show up as neglect and abuse and control in relationships, right? And then all these other astrologers were like jumping on it and agreeing, and then it was just weird. But I asked them, I was like, have you ever done a reading for someone that's been in a domestically abusive relationship? Have you ever done a synastry reading for someone that has dealt with a partner that they were afraid to go to court or they were, afraid that this person was going to take their life? Have you ever done a reading for someone like that? Because I bet you haven't. Because I have. I've done tons of readings for people that have been in domestically abusive relationships. And I've looked at all of those synastry charts. In those synastry charts, we always see Saturn involved. Saturn opposite the sun, Saturn square Mars, Saturn opposite Mars, right? So don't talk to me. Don't repost me, try to denounce my wisdom and my knowledge because this is something I've learned by doing readings for people that have been in DV situations. If you don't have any experience doing synastry readings for people that have been in domestically abusive situations, don't even comment. Don't even bother. Because you're not going to learn this from a book. There is no books on domestic violence astrology. It doesn't exist. There's no books on it. Okay? You have to study the charts of celebrities that have been in domestically violent situations. You got to do readings for people that have been in domestically violent situations to see how that manifests astrologically. So how dare you go ahead and repost my content trying to denounce it when you don't even do readings for people. You don't I guarantee I was looking at this guy that reposted my stuff. Bro, you've been practicing astrology for like a year or two, and you don't do readings for people. You have no following. You're I don't want to say it, but You have very little experience, is what I'll say. You have very little experience. So, how dare you go ahead and try to denounce what I'm sharing, okay, when you have no experience on the issue on the topic, right? And so that's the thing. It's like people are so quick to think that they know it all and to think that, oh, because I went to school and no, you actually do, you don't even know how, you don't know, you don't, because there's certain things that people go through and there's certain topics that are part of people's lived experience that astrologers will not touch. The other astrologers don't know how to look for. Okay? I can look at your chart, trigger warning. I can look on your chart and tell you if you were molested or abused as a child. I have not seen this anywhere. I haven't seen any other astrologers talk about this and how that shows up in people's charts. I can look at your chart and tell you if you were physically abused or emotionally neglected as a child. There's a few astrologers that talk about that, but a lot of people, they don't want to go there. And they don't even know how it shows up in people's life. They don't even know how it shows up in the astrology in people's charts because they don't want to go there with people. They don't want to talk to people about the deep dark stuff. I will. I'll talk to you about that. People, listen. I'm a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio stellium. I got Mars in the eighth house. I got a Capricorn moon. I got a high tolerance, okay, for challenging, difficult things that people go through. And it's so healing, right? When I'm able to do a reading for someone and I'm able to talk to them about a very challenging thing that they've told nobody else, but I see it in their chart because they have guilt or shame around it. You know how healing it is for them? Do you know how liberating that is for them to be seen and for them to be validated and for a very traumatic experience that they went through that I could see in their chart that they didn't have to tell me about? Okay, but I ask them about it because I see it so clearly and they're like, "Oh my God," right? You know what it does for them? It gives them permission to let it go. It gives them permission to release any kind of trauma or victim energy associated with that experience, and it gets it off their heart, it gets it off their chest because they feel so seen and they feel so validated. And then they also understand that it was written in their chart. It was like a karmic thing that they had to go through, right? It's there. It's written, it's right there. And it's something that runs in the family as well. So, I'll talk to them about, oh yeah, did, your cousin get molested or abused? Did your dad go through some? They're like, oh yeah, this is like something that runs in the family, right? Because that's how it is. It's a karmic thing. These are karmic patterns, even domestic abuse and domestic violence and molestation. These are things that run in the family lineage. You could see it in the chart so strongly, you know? But a lot of people, a lot of they don't even know they don't even know what that looks like. They don't even know what that looks like because these are things that I've learned in my experience of being an astrologer and actually practicing astrology, not just studying it. I got all the books. I've read tons of them. I'm reading a lot of them now. I got some really cool books, really cool astrological things that I'm learning right now. But you're not going to be able to read that anywhere. You're just not, you know. These are things that other astrologers don't know or they don't want to talk about, you know. But astrology encompasses our entire lived experience. And astrology encompasses our entire lived experience. Everything can be seen through the planets. We just got to know how to look for it and how to see it. We just got to know how to look for it and how to see it, you know? So, so don't come for me. Okay. It's just the audacity of some people to think that they know it all, man. It's crazy to me. Like you don't have no idea who I am. You have no idea, how much passion and how much love I put into my work. You have no idea what I know. Okay? And you can't even come close. Don't even try. Okay? Follow your own path, do your own thing. I'm gonna stay in my lane. You stay in your lane because I built this freeway that I'm on. I built this from the ground up. This is my freeway. Get off of it. Okay, if you don't understand this journey, this path that I'm going on, you ain't welcome to drive on my freeway anyways. Okay, you go on your little side streets that you're cultivating for yourself. All right, you go and hang out in that little neighborhood that you never left. Okay, because I'm global mobile. Listen, I'm on a plane. I'm getting out of here. I got work to do. Get out of my way. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy to me, dude. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me, you know. But I love you all so much. He really got you. Let him be. He's probably jealous. Yeah, you know, jealousy and envy shows up in multiple ways. You know, it's all I see it all as admiration. You know, you just admire me in a way. You know, it's love in a different form, you know. Yeah, I let it go. I let it go a while ago. I let it go a while ago, but it just caught me off guard because what was even more strange about it for me because I'm a Pisces rising, you know, and I'm a Scorpio stellium in the ninth house. Like I want to be everyone's friend. I want everyone to like me and stuff. And what was strange about it for me is like there was people that were participating in all of that that I actually really liked. I liked their content, even though they were like smaller pages or whatever. I really liked them, you know. So it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit because I was like, wow, like even though there's a few of you that actually was following or really liked your content and even you're jumping in on this. Wow, I was so disappointed. There was a lot of people I was very disappointed in. And they're strangers, they're, you know, they're whoever, you know what I mean? But you know, in the future I may run into them at an astrological conference or whatever, something like that, you know. So, you know, I blocked them all though. I blocked them all. You're not gonna have access to me or my content. You know, I realize I gotta be more conscientious about protecting myself. And if there's people that want to throw negativity my way or distract me from my path or my mission that the divine has put me on, then, you know, I gotta stay away from those people. I'll just block them and they don't have access to me. You know, and it's crazy because like, this is one of the things I've said before. I never was like, oh, let me be an astrologer. I ended up here. I wasn't like, oh, let me go to school to be an astrologer. I'm to this day, I don't know how I ended up here. I never was like, oh, I want to be an astrologer. Like this path was chosen for me in a way. I was just studying and learning, and spirit was just giving me my dreams. I was seeing myself doing readings. I started doing tarot for people for free, and I just ended up here. I never made the conscious choice to be like, ooh, I want to be an astrologer and a tarot reader. Like this path I was put on. I was called to this work. It was like, yeah, I love it. I'm grateful for it, right? And now it's like something that I own and I claim. But this was something that just happened organically, you know? I'm so passionate about astrology and tarot. I love it so much, and I love helping people. I love being of service to people. I love getting to know people and connect people. I love to be a light in people's life, and I love to be a guide and to be able to validate people and to be able to help them on their journey of life. Like that's my goal. That's my vision. The astrology, the tarot, these are just tools. These are just things that these are just the tools in my tool belt. You know, they're not the end all be all of my work. This isn't for me, you know? Like at first, astrology and tarot, these things are for me, and they are still for me at times, but mostly they're for you guys. I'm just the vessel, you know? I'm just the vessel of of the wisdom of the planets, the wisdom of the stars, and the wisdom of spirit and the divine. I'm just a messenger. I'm just an oracle, you know, here to illuminate your path, make it a little bit easier, you know, things like that. But yeah. All right, my loves. Mwah, you guys have a beautiful day. I'm gonna go ahead and end this now. Um, I'll see you guys, and thank you for being here. I'm gonna go and post this right away. Okay. Also, if you guys want to, you're the most passionate astrologer. Oh, thank you. If you guys want to watch the Cancer season overview that I did last yet last night. Highly recommend that. It's a really good one. I did it with Elise. We had a fun time and we were talking about things. I'll see you guys probably on Wednesday for a live. I'm gonna do a live on the new moon in Cancer, even though I talked a lot about it yesterday and today. I think I'm gonna do a particular live on the new moon in Cancer. Maybe that one won't be as long, but I think I'm gonna do that on Wednesday on the new moon. So Wednesday morning, maybe around 9 or 10, okay? But I love you all so much. Mwah. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Enjoy this wonderful week. Enjoy this Sun Jupiter conjunction. We have a new moon, new energy, new cycles, new beginnings. We're calling in new things. We're planting new seeds. Enjoy that and relish in this new moon coming up on Wednesday. Okay. I love you guys. I'll see you around. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye. Oh, my nose is itchy.